Okay, in this segment, we're going to talk all about breath and your diaphragm. The reason why this is so important is because it can really directly affect your autonomic nervous system. So it can directly affect that being in that state of social engagement, or being in that state mobilized with fear, or being in that state immobilized with fear, which we talked all about in those other videos. Now, let's talk about some anatomy of the diaphragm that will give you a little bit more insight into how exactly in your body your breath is affecting basically that autonomic nervous system and even your emotions, okay? Now, we've got your diaphragm here. This is representing, it's a muscle, and it actually attaches on the lower 6 ribs and wraps around. It's huge, and it's a dome shape. Now, at the very top of the dome here, you've got really important vessels going through. So you've got your giant abdominal aorta coming off your heart with all the oxygenated blood to go to your body. Then you've got all the deoxygenated blood coming back up, poking through the diaphragm back into the heart. You've also got your esophagus, so you eat, and then there's a tube. It goes down and pokes through the diaphragm as well. And guess what's wrapped around that tube? Our incredible vagus nerve, okay? So all these structures are poking through the diaphragm. So if you can imagine, if there's a lot of tension in there, or if it's moving kind of lopsided or not moving well with your breath, then it can affect how all those things are functioning. Now, one little thing about the esophagus going through, anyone who has ever experienced GERD, heartburn, what you can know about the diaphragm that's really important is that the sphincter, there's a cardiac sphincter, it opens and closes when our food goes down. So when we get that heartburning feeling, the theory is, the flap's opening or something's wrong with that flap, and the acid from our stomach's going up into our esophagus, causing that burning feeling. So what's really neat mechanically to know about your body and your diaphragm is that the diaphragm function open and closes that sphincter. So again, you can really know how just your breathing mechanics and bringing some awareness to your breath as you eat or throughout your day can be really powerful to what's actually going on in your nervous system and just to the general health of your body. Now, in osteopathy, which I'm trained in, we also look at 2 other structures and a few others, but we won't go into that today. But 2 other big structures that go up and down. So they're horizontal. So this is a big horizontal structure, goes up and down. There's 2 more we add in, and we call them diaphragms as well. So one is your pelvic floor, made up again of muscles, about 8 or 9 of them. And it's like a sling from your tailbone to your pubic bone. It's like a sling in there. And then you've got your diaphragm up in your head, made out of fascia. Don't worry about it. Not a muscle, that's all you need to know. And everything goes up and down together. When that's happening really well, the body moves fluids really well. And the pressure systems, it's in charge of so maybe you're someone who is affected, maybe your knee hurts when the weather changes, or maybe you get a headache when the weather changes. Well, one of our sort of osteopathic theories about that would be, okay, if your pressure systems within your body that are guided by how the diaphragms are moving, maybe they're just not as flexible and balanced, and so you're being more affected by the environment, right? So if that internal pressure balance system is more balanced, you shouldn't be as affected by your environment, correct? Does that kind of make sense? And then another really important part of this, the anatomy describes it, is that on top of this amazing diaphragm here, you've got your heart and your lungs, okay? They attach through ligaments and fascia onto your diaphragm. Now, we've also got 2 connections here of your colon, okay? You've also, of course, the stomach is in relationship with that, with the esophagus coming down. And then you've also got your big liver right here on the right side attached onto the back of your diaphragm. So its movement allows for those organs to move better. And we know we feel better when we move, and so do the organs. So this is a really important aspect that you can control in your daily life to help bring more balance to that autonomic nervous system. And one more thing to note about the breath, because we have other videos that talk about breathing mechanics, But one more thing to note about this is the longer our exhale is, the more we kick into that state of social engagement, to that part of the vagus nerve that we want to bring the most balance to. Okay? So I hope that made sense to you. So just to recap, the diaphragms in the body all want to move up and down together. Our breath helps to impact that, and it's going to help the mobility of our organs and going to help maintain our pressure systems and the flow of our fluids in our body. All right, thank you, and we'll see you in the next segment. Bye-bye.